Welcome to Creating Wealth with Jason Hartman, president of Platinum Properties Investor Network in Newport Beach, California. During this weekly program, Jason is going to tell you some really exciting things that you probably haven't thought of before, or a new slant on real estate, fresh new approaches to America's best investment that will enable you to create more wealth and happiness than you ever thought possible. Jason is a genuine self-made multimillionaire who not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. He's been a successful investor for 20 years and currently owns properties in 9 states. This program will help you follow in Jason's footsteps on the road to financial freedom through real estate. You really can do it. And now, here's your host, Jason Hartman.
Hi, this is Jason Hartman with Platinum Properties Investor Network in Newport Beach, California. Welcome to podcast number 15. Today I'd like to do something a little different, where we'd just like to share a recent seminar that I conducted here in Newport Beach, where I discussed the 10 commandments of successful real estate investing. I think you'll enjoy this as it sums up a lot of our methodologies and techniques, although it's not a complete picture, but it is helpful in understanding some of our basic principles. So here we are as we go live for the 10 commandments of successful real estate investing. What we like to do is start our seminars with our 10 commandments of real estate investing. This kind of sums up our investment philosophy in pretty much 10 easy steps. You have a copy of this in your folder, but I'll elaborate quite a bit. The first one is what we're doing today. Thou shalt become educated. It's definitely important to become educated. One of the things we say is that we want you to be your own best advisor. Don't rely on anybody else. Don't even rely on us. Be educated so you're your own best advisor. Next one, thou shalt have a professional investment counselor. I will introduce to you in a little bit some of our investment counselors. They're not all here today, but you'll meet them. And one of the things that I've noticed over the years in talking to various investment advisors for my own portfolio, I cannot tell you the number of times I have walked in to a company like a Merrill Lynch and I sat down across the table with a 28-year-old guy who's wearing a nice suit, graduated from a great school, all of that stuff, but he isn't doing what he is telling me to do. And I didn't like that very much. It didn't make me feel very confident in his advice. So one of the first quality control measures we have here is that all of our investment counselors and all of our area managers must buy their own product. See, 2.5 years ago when I launched this new division of the company, I had a problem. We're in 32 markets nationwide, by the way, that we recommend. But one of the challenges I had starting the company is that various people that worked here would constantly say, hey, Jason, I want to open this area. I want to open that area. I think that's a good market. And I had to sort of have some quality control here. So the first, most easily defined quality control step was, if you think it's a good deal, go buy one yourself, and then we'll talk about recommending it to our clients. So we practice what we preach in real life. I own 23 properties in 12 states, so I'm going to talk to you about diversification. And this is one of my favorite, number 3, thou shalt maintain control. Many investments out there, ones that have not done well for me over the years, are investments where I relinquish control to somebody else. Whether it be a partnership. My 92-year-old grandmother has a great quote. You should write this down. It's really good. A lot of wisdom in this quote. She said to me a long time ago, she said, Jason, the hardest ship to sail is a partnership. Would you agree with that? Isn't that true? Hardest ship to sail is a partnership. So I like being in control. Call me a control freak, but I don't want to be in anybody else's deal. I want to do my own investments. I want to control my own investments. We do not recommend any LLCs, partnerships, tenant-in-common deals, real estate investment trusts, and we certainly don't recommend Wall Street and stocks, because in any of those things, you relinquish control to somebody else. Think about what happens when you relinquish control. You leave yourself susceptible to 3 major problems. First problem, you might be investing with a crook. We're all familiar with the Enrons, the WorldComs, the Global Crossings, and all of these companies out there. Certainly there are a lot of scams in the real estate world where there's some sort of partnership set up or a limited liability company and the promoter goes and gets money from investors and then rips them off. So assume you're investing with someone who's honest. Second problem, you might be investing with someone who's incompetent. Now, either of these can cause major trouble. So assume that they're competent. Next problem, they're honest, they're competent, but they take a very large handling fee off the top to manage the investment or manage the deal. The reason I like being a direct investor, and that's what we recommend to you, is that you be a direct investor, is that when you are a direct investor, you retain the profits for yourself. I read a book in January. I was up in Colorado skiing and I discovered this book. It's by Lou Dobbs, kind of a controversial guy. My mom says he's a socialist. I think he's great. Whatever. My mom's the one who went to Berkeley, so what right does she have to talk? But anyway, Lou Dobbs wrote this book called War on the Middle Class. You've seen him on CNN, right? Well, in Chapter 2, he talks about what happens in the corporate world, what the managers of corporations are doing with your money. When you invest in someone else's stock, here's how they're spending it, mostly on themselves. He says that median CEO compensation went from $1.8 million in 1992 to $6.1 million in 2000. CEO pay increased 340% from 92 to 2002, while compensation for rank-and-file employees increased a mere 36%. Listen to this. In the past few years, we've seen levels of pay for individual CEOs that is beyond most people's comprehension. Numbers that look like they belong on a company's revenue column rather than on a paycheck. The greed on Wall Street, to me, is disgusting. And I just don't like losing control of my investments. I want these profits to flow to me, and I hope you do too. So here's a couple of examples. Terry Semel, chairman and CEO of Yahoo, was paid $120 million in 2004. Lou Frankfurt, head of Coach, well, the head of their company got $58 million in 2002. Robert Nardelli, kind of the infamous CEO of Home Depot, made $36 million. Ed Zander of Motorola got $32 million. Meg Whitman of eBay received $26 million. Then he goes on to say, and I'll skip ahead, the standard rationalization for these astronomical salaries by CEOs, their boards of directors, and their consultants is that these CEOs are worth it because the companies they run benefit from their leadership. They bring great value to their shareholders. How then do they explain the fact that over the past 5 years, the CEOs of AT&T, Bell South, Hewlett-Packard, Home Depot, Lucent, Merck, Pfizer, Safeway, Time Warner, Verizon, and Walmart were paid an aggregate of $865 million in compensation, almost $1 billion. Well, their shareholders lost a total of $640 billion. Clearly, these CEOs were not being paid for benefiting their shareholders. And then there's Larry Ellison, founder and CEO of Oracle. From 2000 to 2002, in 2 years, Larry's personal take from the company was $781 million in 2 years, almost $1 billion. But shareholder return was negative 61%. Folks, we've got to stop giving up control of our investments. We've got to retain the profits for ourselves. So maintain control, be a direct investor. Number 4, thou shalt use prudent financial planning techniques when investing. The financial firms on Wall Street can teach us some very good stuff. They are very good at using financial planning techniques. So everybody in this room has a different risk tolerance. Everybody in this room has a different goal, a different time horizon for achieving that goal. Some investors are conservative, some are aggressive risk takers. Everybody wants something different out of their investments. Some want cash flow, some want capital appreciation, some want tax benefits. So we help you tailor a portfolio to meet your specific goals and needs. And we'll talk about that as the day goes through, okay? But use prudent financial planning techniques. Number 5, thou shalt not gamble. We do not speculate. We do not flip properties. We do not gamble. Over the last 21 years that I have been in the real estate business, I have made millions of dollars locally in real estate, just right here in Orange County. Some homes I've bought and held for a while. Some I bought and flipped right away. Some I flipped rather quickly, rented out for maybe a short time. So I've done all of that different stuff. But one thing I have noticed with the clients and the investors that I have met over the last 21 years is this. The people who flip properties have spending money.